got some secrets about leadership that I want to share with you. So stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. And we are in the midst of a series based upon the book Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun, written by Wess Roberts, MD. Outstanding book of its generation. Something that if you haven't read, it's similar to Think and Grow Rich or How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a generational book that can be read over and over and over again. It's got the basics in it, and it is outstanding, not to mention the fact that it's entertaining. The premise is Attila the Hun. Here he is, the leader of the tribes of the Huns. These are his principles that he embraces. Let's pick it up with the next one, physical stamina. Huns must have chieftains who can endure the physical demands of their leadership duties. Chieftains must nurture their bodies with the basic healthful staples. Chieftains cannot lead from their bedside. They lack energy when filled with too much food or drink. The distorting portions of the Romans only confuse minds. A body not properly used becomes abused. A healthy body supports a healthy mind. Our chieftains must be strong in body in order to lead the charge. Okay, you mentioned Romans, all right? Obviously, what the author, Wess Roberts, is talking about is, the chief enemy of the Huns were the Romans at that time in the world. And the point is, the Romans can be sort of envisioned in today's times as sort of the 95% crowd. What are the people that are unsuccessful? What do they do? How do they act? The people that are in the 5% group have some temperance, or they don't stay in the 5% group for a very long period of time. It's that simple. So if you get filled with too much food or drink, or take advantage of your office, the perks, the benefits, and you're flouting those, and you're saying, all right, now I've arrived, I'm the leader, I've arrived, and you kick back and say, all right, serve me. That you won't be a leader for very, very long. And you have to have your body in a position, because it takes, there's the emotional strength that you need, but there's also, you need to be physically strong. All right, now I know there are some people that can lead, like Franklin Delano Roosevelt, from a wheelchair, but they have had the benefit of wisdom, of a lot of experience. So they're in sort of a different category. But when you're developing as a leader, you've got to be physically strong, because it's going to take a toll on you. Emotions take a toll on you physically. Ask Eli, ask me. All right, anytime you have a situation on the personal side of the balance sheet where a woman says to you, hey, don't want to see you anymore, bye, our time is over. Okay, it's like a kick in the stomach. It's an emotional loss, but it also affects you physically, doesn't it? You follow what I'm saying? You can't eat, you're sulky, you're mourning, you're feeling sorry for yourself until somebody kicks you in the butt, or you kick yourself in the butt and say, hey, I'm ready to rock and roll again. Next, let's move on. Let's be strong. And so you have to have that physical stamina, because emotionally it's going to be a roller coaster. Leadership can be a roller coaster. You can have some great things happen, and then the very next day you can have miserable things happen, but you have to be able to absorb those and move on. And if you don't have that physical strength, you're not going to be able to make it. Empathy. Chieftains must develop empathy, an appreciation for and an understanding of the values of others, a sensitivity for other cultures, beliefs, and traditions. However, empathy must not be confused with sympathy, which may result in unwise consolation in times when, above all other things, the good of the nation or the tribe must be pursued with adroit diplomacy or battlefield action. This was an important lesson for me. Bob Anderson would say to me, and by the way, he's the one that recommended this book to me. All right, that's how long ago I read it. I mean, this was like something in the early 80s when I read this book. I mean, it's still relevant. It's a great book. Strongly recommend you read it. He said, don't confuse empathy with sympathy. Sympathy means, hey, I see how you're feeling and I feel the same way. I feel sorry for you. That's sympathy. Empathy is, I can feel what you feel and I'm going to help you to overcome that. I have felt that before and here's the solution. And it's especially critical in personal situations where the general good of the tribe, and whether the tribe is your family or the tribe is your business entity, that you make decisions, the tribe comes first. That's what comes first. The family comes first. The business comes first before the individuals in that business. All right? Now, as a motivating tool, if you understand what people are going through, then you can help them. A leader is someone that influences and inspires someone when they're having difficulty in those two areas. And I'll just give you an example of that. We're in the sales game. It's the wonderful world of commission only. There can be a roller coaster. You can have people that are going through, they're doing something wrong. It's sort of like a slump in baseball. If you're a hitter, you're in a slump, you're doing something wrong, you need a correction, whatever. Anyway, I would have people that would come in and they'd be all mopey, and they haven't written business in a while, and Eli's dad, it's really tough out there in the field. All right, it's like, wake up. And then I would just turn to them and I'd say, Fred, Ethel, let me ask you a question. Is there anything wrong with you that writing 2 applications, one on the husband, one on the wife, for $50 a month and $50 a month wouldn't cure? Is there anything wrong with you that wouldn't cure? And invariably the answer was, no, that would cure it. So get out there, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and make it happen. And if it persisted, then I would hop in the car with them and say, okay, watch me, and then I'll watch you, and let's see let's compare notes. You're there to help them. But empathy means putting yourself in someone else's shoes, understanding it, not feeling sorry for them. That's sympathy. But helping them to advance to the next level. Question, isn't that what leadership's all about? It is, isn't it? Decisiveness. Young chieftains must learn to be decisive, knowing when to act and when not to act, taking into account all facts bearing on the situation, and then responsibly carrying out their leadership role. Vacillation and procrastination confuse and discourage subordinates, peers, and superiors, and serve the enemy well. Okay, you got to be decisive as a leader. The only bad decision, once again, quote from Bob Anderson, and I'm sure he was not the one that penned this quote, but the only bad decision is indecision. Once you make a decision, then you can have a starting line, get your body in motion, and create some positive inertia. The only bad decision is indecision. Stop and think about the 95% crowd. They don't even have a purpose, a goal, a dream, an ambition. They never get to the starting line. They're on the treadmill, just going through the motions. Once you make a decision, this is my purpose in life, this is my goal, this is my objective, this is what I will not be denied, this is my burning desire. Once you on a personal level make that decision, you have a direction. You get to a starting line. And if your why is big enough, you continuously have more starting lines. So make sure your why is big enough. Guess what? Leadership is exactly the same thing, only doing it for a number of different people. So you need to be decisive. People that are the good leaders are decisive in their decision making and stick with their decision. People that are not good leaders take a long time to make a decision. They procrastinate, and then once a decision is made, they're quick to change their minds. Notice this trait. It's not an accident. It's not a coincidence. Leaders are decisive, and once you decide something, you make it work. I've decided this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this thing work. Do you make adjustments along the way as necessary? Of course you do. But be decisive. Make a decision. And then if the universal mind or circumstances tell you, yo, dude, not going in the right direction, need a new starting line, then get a new starting line. But be decisive in what you do. Anticipation. Learning by observation and through instincts sharpened by tested experience, our chieftains must anticipate thoughts, actions, and consequences. Anticipation bears a level of risk that is willingly accepted by a chieftain who will excel when others turn to the comfort of personal security. Okay, this is kind of a two-way street, anticipation. One, you have to be able to anticipate monkey wrenches, okay? When bad stuff's going to happen, and say, all right, if this happens, then I want to be prepared to do that. Kind of simple. On the other hand, you also have to be able to look at the trends of society and make some judgments. Give you a real good example of that. Let's take a look at the library, all right? The library now is not the library of my youth. The library back then was, okay, let's go, let's use the encyclopedias, let's do the report for social studies. It was all about books, and they would have old newspapers that you could find, and so on and so forth. What's the library now? They got computers, they got programs. I mean, all of these different things you have to be able to anticipate. Now, my issue with the library as it currently exists is that there isn't so much that you can do, that you can't do from your home on your computer, that you have to go to the library for. That's why attendance in the library nationwide is shrinking like nobody's business. They need to come up with something new in the library that people can't get from other sources. Hello, McFly. The only thing that's constant in business is change. And if you want to be an entity that has some relevance, then you have to be able to take a look at the trends, see what's happening, and make some anticipation. Years ago, Eli, or around the time that you were born, video stores were everywhere. Record stores were everywhere. Do you see them now? People needed to anticipate. Netflix did a pretty good job with that, didn't they? They anticipated, hey, we can do this over the computer. People don't have to leave their house. I think they're going to like that. Hello? You follow what I'm saying? Now, how do you do that as a leader? It takes experience. Okay? How do you get experience? By trying something and failing at it. Then you had an experience. Or by trying something and succeeding with it. Then you had an experience. So you got to make some different efforts. But anticipation is a key ingredient. And also, once again, you have to be able to anticipate difficulties with the people in your orbit and anticipate circumstances out there in society that are constantly changing. Those are the key points. Okay? So as a leader, anticipation is a very important element. Okay, we're going to continue with more next time we get together. And remember, until that time, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.